Hey guys, I'm Jeremy, and here's the end of my motorcycle trip from near Cusco to Lima, Peru. Just an epic trip. The country is one of the best I've done in the world. So over about a 9-day period, I did about 1,000 miles or more. And so the video's chronologically in order over those last days. And I already did about 10 videos or so of the first part of the trip you can check out. And then later on, I'll do another video on why you should travel to Peru, because it is one of the most amazing countries I've been to. And then I'll have a couple other videos of Colombia, which is actually where I'm at now by the time you probably see this video. So anyway, I hope you enjoy.
Good thing I did that hike yesterday. When I came in, it was almost 3, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to rush to go do a hike, especially when it might get dark. I was like, I'll do it in the morning. It'll probably be better in the morning anyway. It's like, you know, rained all morning or maybe all night, I don't know. Should be fun going down in the mud for like an hour and a half. I know Charlie's super happy about it. At least the rain stopped, so it's definitely going to be a good amount of mud, and some of those little streams are going to be bigger and waterfalls and stuff, but an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, should be good. Should be all good. Super fun riding. This is great. I like it where you could just go basically almost full speed and then you slow down for the turns, but it's really fast. And since we're at a lower elevation, these bikes actually work okay. Where most of the time we're up at, 4,000 meters, the thing's just like, it's not very fun. So yeah, there's been some really fun riding. The road coming down wasn't too bad. I figured that even though it's a dirt road, they pack down a lot of stones and stuff, so they have to be able to get all of these vans up there because they're probably bringing up 200, 300, 400 people a day or something. If that road sucks and people can't get up, they're going to lose tens of thousands of dollars. So it's not as good as tarmac, of course, like the lower section, but I bet you in the next 5 or 10 years they'll have a paved road up there because it seems super popular. Nice hotel and restaurant. We got our own apartment upstairs, which is pretty cool. How's the soup? Good? Perfect. We got a pretty cool room. It's basically like an apartment. There's 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchen for about, I don't know, $50 or something. So it's kind of nice. But you loved your hotel room, right? It was your favorite hotel room?
It was pure love from the moment I saw it. Of course.
He hated it more than anything on the whole trip.
It was the worst thing in the entire world. Yeah, not like that.
3 little beds stuck together, freezing room, no internet, no light to read your book.
Correct.
It was like everything that
no
you could
electricity,
hate.
no light, cold. Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah, anyway, we're gonna try dinner just downstairs because you might even hear it's the rain came down, man, it did not stop. So we're gonna wander around a bit. This town actually looked like it had a lot of like restaurants and bars, more than most places.
That is too bad. Right, Rob. Medium.
Just medium?
Yeah. Okay. You always win.
I always win, huh? His steak was pretty rare anyway, so we'll see how mine is. But yeah, it's a lot of food. Man, Peru's like, if you thought American proportions were big, wow. Can't even get through probably half of this. They're like, we don't have rare, we only have medium. It's like, no, I think actually we got rare, which is okay, but. We just got the variety pack for like 10 bucks. Looks good. Yeah, the meal was amazing, man. That steak, even though it was a little rare, like, that was so excellent. Good. Yeah, Charlie really liked it a lot too. It was just amazing. Yeah, it was good. Definitely one of the best meals like in a while. Yeah, nice time in Albuquerque, which is where we're at now. It's a pretty nice town compared to a lot of towns we've been. Many towns have a lot of traffic and beeping and pollution and stuff, and this was definitely one of the nicer ones. So if you're out this way, I would definitely have a stop here. If you're into hiking too, there's a pretty alpine lake just north of town. I think it's probably would take most of the day, but that's one thing you could do here. And I'm sure there's plenty of other cool hiking opportunities. We'll just kind of head down the road west, not any specific destination, because yeah, we're really hitting some big rain at times. It looked like the town also had a lot of nice restaurants and bars too. And it's only a few hours from Cusco, so if you want an alternative, kind of a smaller, chill town that has access to a lot of nice areas, this could be a good alternative. Oh, this, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Some drone shots here. Every day I'm amazed, just scenery is just so amazing and different every day. It's just so cool, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, that's sweet. Get some lunch here. Excellent food as usual. And these meals are only about 9 sols. So it's like, I don't know, less than $3, maybe $2.50 or something. So just about an hour, 15 minutes to the next town. Okay. You want to take off? Okay. Let's get a photo. I just got stung by a bee, damn it. There we go. Gringos. 2 gringos. Cool. Another great day. Such varied landscape. You know, you're coming through somewhere which is almost like maybe a jungle to a forest to alpine to a high plateau to farming areas, and you know, it's warm and it's cold and it's just so different. But yeah, I've been really liking the vibes a lot more. I mean, I've liked the whole trip, but for some reason, maybe because it's just more green. I don't know if that's it, or just the vibes in general are better. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, you know, a couple of people in that little square were, you know, trying to communicate with me a little bit. And when I was flying my drone earlier today, people were chatting, and at the gas station, a couple of people wanted to get photos with us. Generally on the trip, people kind of keep to themselves. They haven't said too much to us, so that was kind of neat. People trying to interact a little more. Obviously, it's too bad I can't speak good Spanish, but obviously I could take out my phone and try to translate. But I guess right now we're just trying to see if this hotel's actually open. It looks like it might be closed. Yeah.
Can you?
We tried that other hotel. We don't know where the guy's at. We're trying to call him and message him, and I'm like, I'll just go around the corner. And the rooms look good, and there's like a little garden out back. So yeah, these little towns are nice because you don't have all the beeping and pollution. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty good for 90 sols. That's like, I don't know, $25 or something. So yeah, pretty decent. Nice little town, quiet. No traffic next door, or roosters or dogs, hopefully. I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. I have no idea what's going on here. This is interesting. A little parade of randomness. Yeah, it's funny, these big hotels, we stayed at a few and there's only been like a few guests, and they've got to have like, I don't know, 30, 40 rooms in many of them. And it must be that like people come from the countryside for like some holiday events like a few times a year, and like the place fills up then. But yeah, most of the time it's like, I'm surprised how big they are, and there's like only me and Charlie staying there, and maybe one other person. At least my stomach's doing better today. I went to the bathroom about 10 times yesterday, so things are back in order, which is good. It's the first time I had anything like that on the trip, so on a 4-week trip, it's gonna happen at least once. The chifa places are the Chinese places, so of course it's not like Chinese from China, it's more like, kind of like what you get in the States, basically. But it's good change it up. And they've got them in every town. They've got a few usually, so super popular, just like in the States is here, basically. It's funny, we ended up back in our hotel anyway. Like, we just wandered around the whole town, didn't find exactly what we wanted, so it's all good. How's that look? Good? Yeah.
It's okay.
He's about to hit 3,000.
This spot's good because it's on a quiet road where everything in the central area is just a complete zoo, as usual in the center. Plus they have parking where a lot of the places right in the center of the city doesn't have parking. Then you have to go, down the road and pay for that, which sucks. So already learned our lesson once from doing that. Quite the rockfall road there today. Tons of rocks everywhere that I assumed at first might have just come from the storm the night before it rained, but it's like, I'm sure that stuff was around there for, a week or two, maybe 3 weeks. I'm surprised they didn't have like a road crew come by and like clean up a lot of that stuff. The good thing though is that at least there wasn't much traffic at first. I didn't even think trucks or vehicles could get through. I thought it'd be just like a motorcycle road for us for the day, but after a while there was more traffic. But that's how it goes when you're up in the mountains, of course rocks are falling. And it was like that when I was in China. I remember when I was going down in my van and a huge rock just bounced in front of the road in front of me about 200 miles per hour, and of course I had that hike last month in Mexico where rocks were falling down, so gravity is at work. Now we're in this town that was actually the main battle here that happened in like the 1820s, where the Peruvians and other groups defeated the Spanish, and that's how they got their independence in this town. I think it was like about 8,000 Spanish with artillery against 6,000 local guys, and some people who were from other places in South America, like Venezuela and other places. And the local guys came out with the cavalry, I guess, and killed 2,000 Spaniards. And part of the surrender agreement was that they would leave Peru and Bolivia. But that town we stayed in last night was nice because it's really quiet and you just hear some birds chirping and really mellow. So you consider that when you are traveling around Peru, sometimes like those small towns without traffic are a little better because you can still get good food and everything you need there in town anyway. It's not like you have to go to a big town to get like good food or anything. So now we're in a much bigger town, and it's still all right. Like, I'm sure there's some nice sights around and whatnot, but so it's just much more insanity here. Luckily, this hotel is in a quiet area, and it's because they don't allow trucks on that road, I guess. There was a sign Charlie saw below.
Napkin. They gave us full ones.
Oh.
This is the full napkin.
It's a miracle we've never had a full napkin before. They usually have like a half, like a
See, that's the cutaway. That's crazy.
Yeah, they usually like cut them into like
4 pieces.
Yeah, 4 pieces at most, or 2.
So you have this much, and you're like,
kind of random spot for a restaurant. I think it's next to like a school or something, maybe a university or something. But yeah, it's funny. Even these hole-in-the-wall spots have such good food. There's one thing that's rare in Peru, and that's getting bad food. I mean, it's like, I've been here, 3 weeks, and the only bad food I had was like when they tried to do lasagna at some random place, or like trying to do some American food or something, but any Peruvian restaurant is just epic. Bacon wrapped chicken, can't go wrong there, huh? Got to go for the 12.5%, right? Grape juice. I hope they use this for communion on Sundays tomorrow.
it's Four Loko, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. This is outlawed in the United States. Four Loko.
Nice time in Ayacucho. It's a decent town. If you're in this area, it's worth a stop. We got the paid parking. This is only the second time we've done the paid parking. The first time in Arequipa, they tried to charge us 300 sols, like almost $100. And this guy's telling us it's like 5 sols a day. So it's like $1.50 a day, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's okay. One of the most beautiful days, but with any beautiful day, sometimes the most rewarding times are the most difficult, and like 75% of it was like a beat up crappy road, as you can see. But it was amazing. I mean, you go through a cactus area and then canyons, and then you've got cliffs, and then it almost looks like Colorado there at the end, like with a huge mountain in the distance. So amazing ride. Because that was pretty sketchy driving along those cliffs for so long. Pretty chill spot for 75 sols, or about $20. Basic but good enough.
Dos platos.
Good thing I saw this now, and good thing it didn't happen yesterday when we were in the middle of nowhere, but got a flat tire finally. But much better when you're in a city than in the middle of nowhere. So they suggested getting a new rim because it's a little bent, and I'm like, I don't want to spend all day changing out an expensive rim. And plus we're almost at the end of our trip, so yeah, we'll just try with the tube that's only, you know, 15 sols, like, you know, $5. So those dirt roads, if you go 5,000 miles on a good road on a bicycle or motorcycle, you'll have as many problems as 100 miles on a bad road. So the shaky, terrible roads just loosen the nuts and bolts and chains, everything else, and you're gonna have so many more problems. So not a surprise we get a flat on a crappy road, or like our rims get bent. Anyway, hopefully it does a trick. We'll check out a couple sites in Huancayo, where we're at now, and then move down the road to next town. We probably won't pull a long day or anything. So a new 190cc, like the ones over here, those are like 3,500 bucks. Because honestly, if I knew I was gonna do, you know, a few trips in Peru, like come back maybe once a year, I just buy a used one for like 1,500 bucks, $2,000, because we rented this bike for a month, which was, you know, pretty big piece of crap, and it's a 150, definitely not strong enough for what we're doing. And we spent $1,000 already. It's like, shit, I probably could have got a used 250 for 1,500, you know, and then come back and use it next time. But no big deal. I don't have too much money to spend right now anyway. So, but for next year, I'll definitely look into that. And I would definitely get a used one too, because yeah, I could see a new one disappearing real quick in this country. So used one's probably the way to go. And a good insurance policy. Bike's almost finished, so I'll drive around and show you a couple things you could check out in town if you're in this area. This is about the history of the Civil War from 1980 to 2000. It technically passed then, of left-wing insurgency groups in Peru. And also the government's response was just as brutal. So it's like pretty crazy 25 years in Peru. It's not too bad here. They at least have English, because obviously if I knew it was only Spanish, I probably wouldn't come here, but it's not too bad. Some nice artwork here as well. A lot of this is in memory of all the people who died. I think it's around 50,000 to 70,000 people died. And it wasn't just the left-wing guerrillas. The military and government killed probably a third of those people. And obviously, most of these people were innocent. So yeah, really sad. Little selfie before we head out. Nice museum, very good. 4 or 5 stories and tons to see here, so recommend people check it out. There's English in here too, so if you're in Huancayo, it's a good place.
Okay,
Gracias.
Thank you.
Adios.
Gracias.
But yeah, this town's not really a tourist town at all. It's 5th largest city though in Peru. I think the main city in the Central Highlands. I thought I was getting the Peruvian mullet there for a minute, and I was like, yeah, we need to fade that in a bit there. So yeah, it turned out good though. Kind of like my army cut from back when I was in the 82nd Airborne, huh? Trying something different tonight. Some Mexican food. Missed it since I left Mexico last month.
Chicken
Yeah.
and pork.
Yeah.
Great food. The guy working there on the grill was from Chihuahua, Mexico, so definitely authentic. Best food right there, Mexico and Peru. Some of the best in the world. Figure I'd check out town a minute, have a drink or two while I'm down here. It's too bad I haven't been able to check out more nightlife in a lot of places, but you know, obviously our first evening in Peru kind of tainted that a bit. I hope that's not a large beer. It's pretty cool. They have a bar street with a bunch of like music bars and other stuff here. I guess like any other city. It's kind of cool. My general impression of Peru is I'm sure everyone's like super cool here. Everyone's been really nice. And, you know, I've walked into a couple bars, and if you'd really want to interact with people, you definitely have to make the effort. You know, you wouldn't, I don't think too many people in this country would come up to you. And obviously, one of the reasons why I didn't make much of an effort yet is it's like, I know 3 words in Spanish. So it's like, I'm not going to just randomly go up to people and be like, hola, I'm dumb American from USA. You know, but yeah, I think if you knew a little Spanish, you'd have a good time. I was chatting with the guy at the hostel. Really cool dude. He's about, I don't know, in his 50s with his wife there, and you know, small hotel. He probably got like, I don't know, 6-7 rooms. And I told him about, you know, how we got robbed in Lima, and he's like, oh, I'm so ashamed, it's so horrible and stuff. But he brought up the point, because I was asking about the crime like in this city, Huanchayo, and in general, and he said in Lima, you know, past 10 o'clock is probably dangerous. In a city like this, 2 a.m. is dangerous. That makes sense to me. I mean, in the States, most places are 2 a.m. where, you know, is last call for drinks. And that makes sense. You know, I mean, most people are pretty trashed by 2 a.m. In New York, for instance, it's 4, maybe 5 a.m. in some places. And, I mean, who the hell is kind of sober at 4 or 5 a.m.? I mean, absolutely trashed. The one evening I was out, my first year in China, and yeah, we'd hang out at 4 or 5 a.m. and there's nothing good to come at that time. We got attacked by like a Chinese gang, but like I guarantee you, if we were out at like midnight, even 2 a.m., wouldn't have been a big deal. But 4 or 5 a.m., people drinking, it's just crazy. So be careful out there. That was cool. It's like a 80s, 90s theme bar, and they had kind of a karaoke with a couple people singing. It's kind of nice. I would even hang out longer in some of these places, but the drinks ain't cheap. You know, they're probably $8, and I have to go back to that hotel, and you have to ring the doorbell to get in, basically. And I don't like to, you know, be out until 1 a.m. and wake some old people up, you know. Plus, it's Monday night. The other kind of random thing I noticed, actually, in the last 2 or 3 spots, is that they have all the mixed drinks in the world and stuff, but they don't really have any beers. I was surprised. Yeah, so keep that in mind if you're a real big beer drinker. I don't know if all these places have beer usually.
I had to check out that club across the street. We could hear the noise last night a bit. It was mostly like, it looked like, I mean, maybe I'm getting old, which is true, but it looked like mostly high school kids or maybe college. And of course, there's a few older people, but yeah, it was like 10 souls to get it in. It comes with a beer and some people watching for a minute. I'll tell you, there's a reason why you don't mix like 5 different drinks. So my stomach's like, so a bummer. Charlie took off today because he had to get his yellow fever vaccination before he goes to Panama and Costa Rica. Certainly going to be a big difference in the climate today because I was just up, freezing in the rain at probably, like 14,000 feet. And then I'm going to go all the way down to I think 2,500 feet. So from freezing to hot and tropical, but it should be nice. I got to soak up the heat before I roll back to Colorado next week and it's winter. So stopping here for some lunch in this town. Sweet day. At the beginning there, it's like you're going through a farmland. It reminds me of like something like Ireland. And then you go up to that high plateau like Tibet. It's freezing cold, got hit with rain for like maybe 20 minutes or so. And then downhill through that canyon and those cool waterfalls into this town. And yeah, totally different vibe. Everyone's got shorts and t-shirts here. And there's even a fan in the room, which I haven't seen a fan, I think, since we were on the West Coast 3 weeks ago or so. But it's nice. I figure I'll spend a night here, kind of walk into town later, and actually head back that same way. I'd like to actually check out more of this area, but I gotta get back to Lima in the next few days. But next time I could always do more in these jungle areas. So much more to explore in Peru. We've really only covered like the bottom half, and that's really just a fraction. There's so much more to see. Yeah, got the room for like $23 or something, so that's pretty good. Could have got one in the back or the front, but I don't want the noise on the road, Always too annoying, so gonna have to do without the window. Setting some world records for like the longest Wi-Fi password. I thought it was part of that, and it didn't work, and so I did the first part. And I kept doing it like, 5-6 times. There's a like R4MON, but that O is a 0. That's like, they can make it a little easier than that one. I just counted it's 28 different letters or numerals or symbols. 28, more than the alphabet. And it's funny too, because I was saying I didn't want to be on the front of the building because there's always street noise. And actually it's a dead end road, so the noise would actually be less in theory, right? And so I'm not totally in the back, but like 2 rooms from the end. And just a little work going on down here. I would have gone to the front if I knew there was a jackhammer. Jesus. That's another thing I got to worry about on the road now, is that the reason why that tire popped the other day is because the rim was bent, from going on that bumpy road. So the best thing to do would be to buy a new rim. But I don't know if that guy would charge me for it, and there's only like 3 or 4 days left. So I just got the new tube. The only problem is he even mentioned, like, make sure you don't go too fast.
because if it gets super hot as the wheel's moving fast, it could blow up and I could fall. So I still have 2 or 3 days left where I could die. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, I'll have to be careful. I gotta also make sure my bag on the back here doesn't fall, because today it was starting to lean over on its side. And so yeah, a few days left, gotta be careful. Yeah, I can definitely feel the heat out here. It's first hot day. And this is actually about 5 o'clock. It's still hot out. I looked all over Peru for these. They didn't have this in any shop, and I was walking by like, I'll never see one, and I saw 2 of these. You want to bring bungee cords because they have none in this country, except for this store, I guess. I didn't know where to pay. There's like a little other window here. Pretty funny. That sucks. People always complain because I don't have change here. Now I have enough change for the rest of the trip. It was like 17.5 and I gave him a 50, so now I have like, what, 33.5 or something in coins. And most of those are like not even 1 coins, they're like 20 cents. Have to get rid of that pretty quick, huh? But at least I got some bungee cords, huh? How sweet. They're not selling too many bikinis up in the high plains there, huh? When it's like, doesn't get hotter than like 60 degrees. And it's summer too, so. Yeah, I'll have to come to this tropical area and do another like bike trip, but that'll be in winter probably. A little hot this time of year. They don't need a painting of that stuff. We could forget about that stuff. They could come up with, okay, here we go. We got some other nicer ones. COVID-19, Jesus. I think all these areas too down in the lowlands, which isn't far from Huancayo, got hit up with the shining path and the communist revolution in the area, basically. So, yeah, it's pretty insane times. I'll have to read up on the history more. I've read that book about Pizarro, the Spanish conquistador. This is probably him here. But I don't know too much about the Incan and all the other history and stuff. So I've been watching some videos lately, like on the Shining Path and other things. And yeah, as I make these videos, I'll have to research more. I was thinking of getting a barbecue tonight, but this looks interesting. I see a pizzeria here. I don't know if that's photoshopped or what. Like pizza on top with bacon, cheese, a burger, and fries on the bottom. I'll have to look on the menu and see if that exists. I asked the guy at the hotel if there's any like special dish. He didn't say anything specific, so maybe barbecue, but we'll see. So this town's called San Ramen. I don't know if there's any affiliation with like ramen noodles or anything like that. I doubt it, but pretty chill spot. I was gonna go down to the next town, La Merced, but it's not that far. It's a little bigger, but I'm going back the way I came anyway, so. And this part of the country, a lot of rain too, so I don't want to get too far down here. That looks pretty decent if that's open later. I'm generally against more government jobs in any situation, but dog poop collector, they could definitely use one in a lot of these cities. I'm glad I missed that driving into town. I did get hit with some rain, but nothing that heavy. It's amazing because even in a town like this with only like 30,000 people, there's probably like 100 good restaurants. You know, I mean, there's probably 30 with like nice signs and good advertisement, but even the hole-in-the-wall places I go to are so good too. So it's just, yeah, it's like a food paradise. You don't have to go to the like big cities to get good stuff. It's pretty rare. I can't think of many countries where I'd go to like a small town and get so many good options. Sweet. She's the lucky one to get all that change, or half of it at least. I actually went in some of the other nicer restaurants. It looked like they had a good barbecue. I didn't want to go to a bar slash restaurant, but they didn't have any beers. And I already had a beer. I was like, if I have a barbecue, man, I want to have a beer, you know? So I ended up at that place. So quality of food a little lower, but it was still decent. Just the music's a little loud. It's kind of funny because, you know, I go out and eat like in the States, you know, like 7 o'clock, right? Have some beers or whatever. And, you know, all the places around are empty. You know, people slowly trickle in, maybe 8 o'clock, but yeah, they're on totally different dinner and nightlife schedule here. Like, I think it's more like 10 o'clock. They'll probably eat or go out real late. Yeah, the pool table was open, so I asked the lady, I was like, I'm only by myself, so I'll play you. Just for fun, but yeah, she's like, I can't play. I was like, bummer. Yeah, it's good to get some rope because Charlie's not with me now. He went back to get his yellow fever shot in Lima, and like my rim is messed up. I get a flat tire anytime. Like, I might have to get towed. So yeah, I definitely need some rope or something. I know the ride tomorrow is going to be in the middle of nowhere the next couple days. You go over the high mountains again, so. Better be careful of these vicious wolves. Oh, dead end. Nice little town. I liked all those murals down near the square. Those were pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna head back up the mountain basically through that canyon. Looks pretty rainy today. And then back up way up on that plateau. There's only about 3 hotels in the middle of nowhere that look pretty nice. Probably up like 14,000 feet or something. And then tomorrow I'll meet Charlie at a town, St. Maria, north of Lima. So hopefully don't get hit with too much rain today. It's that was rough yesterday. Pretty tough day so far. Started off with rain right away pretty much. Not a hard rain at least, but I'm always concerned whenever you go through a narrow canyon like that in the rain, especially rainy season like now, you always have potential for mudslides or a landslide. So it's always kind of dangerous. I'm glad I went down and checked out that town. It was a neat town, and it was also great to see all these waterfalls yesterday and today, because I haven't seen too many on this trip. And that kind of elevation is where you see quite a lot, where you go from like a high plateau down to low elevation is where, most waterfalls are at. And also they had quite a few short hikes you could even do to other waterfalls, but I already saw quite a few on the side of the road, so that was good enough. So I've got still about 4 hours left. So a pretty long day, because I'm going to try to meet up with Charlie tomorrow. But yeah, as usual, amazing scenery. I came up from that tropical area. Now I'm up through another canyon, kind of on the high plateau again. Starting to get kind of cold. My pants are pretty little damp, so it's definitely going to be a little challenging in the cold. But hopefully I make it to this hotel in the middle of nowhere without any rain or anything, and I'll be good. But yeah, long day for sure. definitely ready to wind down the motorcycle trip. It's been an amazing journey, but 4 weeks is a long time. So I would have even broken up the trip a little bit by doing like a hike or something like that. But my buddy doesn't really hike too much, so it's all good. I mean, we've seen so much, and I can't wait to come back and see even more either next year or whenever I come back. These meals are perfect. You know, they come out right away with the hot soup, so you get a little bit of pasta and potatoes there. And then I had some fish and rice and some other sweet dish, but just perfect. These little holes and balls are so good. It just blows my mind how this country is just... I've been bouncing back and forth. What's the best country for food? Some days I'm like, Peru's maybe 2 or 3, maybe back to number 1. But yeah, it really could be number 1. It's just so good. And plus, it's only $2.50. So you're getting stuffed with great food for $2.50, $3 in many cases. Some of the ceviche and some of the other places could be like $5, $10. But your standard kind of small lunch place in the middle of nowhere, $2.50 to $3.50 to be totally stuffed. So just amazing. I saw it on Google Maps, but I assumed it was closed when I actually pulled up, because I don't know why they would have like almost like a 4-star resort. Like there's like a pool here and all this stuff like way in the middle of nowhere. Pretty crazy. It's just 70 sols or $20. So yeah, that's good, because when I'd seen the pool, because there's a pool out there that's actually operational, I assumed it was like 4-star. Like I thought it was like a real expensive hotel, but it's like basically, you know, basic hotel, but just happens to have a pool and a sauna, and across the street they have some hot springs. So I don't think I'll be jumping in the water or anything right now, but glad this is here, man. That was a tough ride. That was probably the toughest day of the trip, because the other day it was tough in that canyon. But man, the last 2.5, 3 hours, it was like I was out in that mountain in the mist and fog and then rain, and only about 3 trucks passed me, maybe 4. In like 2 hours, I was like, man, if I got a flat tire, the bike broke down in the rain out there, that was super remote. But it was a super neat day. I mean, you know, I started up, obviously, like when I was packing up my bag at like 9 a.m., it was super hot. I'm like sweating, just, you know, excited to get on the bike so I could get some wind. And, you know, coming up through that canyon in the rain was cool. And of course, I knew there would probably be some kind of washout, and all the cars were backed up. And luckily it wasn't too bad. I started driving through it. It was a little crazy with the mud and water going through there, but it could be worse. I've been at some spots where, like, you know, half the mountain comes down. You got to wait like until they get the caterpillar and all that other stuff to come in, and it could take, you know, an hour or 2 to get through. So at least I got through. Luckily got here, and yeah, went basically from the east side of the Andes over to the west side of the Andes, and yeah, this random hotel. So funny. And they've got to have, I don't know how many rooms here, like, you know, 100 rooms or something. But that's what I guessed earlier in this trip when I'd stayed at a lot of hotels that were huge, and there were only like 2 or 3 people staying there. The guy here told me that, yeah, it's a few times a year when they have holidays or something going on, people come up here. This place is probably completely full for different events. And then, like, you know, 10 months a year, there's no one here, I guess. So I don't know, whatever. If the business model works, that's cool. Let's check out the pool real quick. I see how those guys survive 10 months a year here. I get it now. That's cool. Just gotta get some water before I drink the beer, huh? Pretty much like the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. It's like this enormous building with like 3 caretakers. Hope there's no ghosts.
Or any unusual things tonight. Because, yeah, a little creepy. Getting the fish fry looks good. I also got quite a bit higher than usual today, which isn't really a surprise since I crossed over the Andes, but I looked at my app and it said I was up over 4,700 meters, which I don't know is like 15,000 feet or 15,500 or something. And I knew I was up super high because even when I was on that paved road before I went onto the dirt road, I couldn't go faster than 30 kilometers an hour, which is like 20 miles per hour, because it's like, it was just, there wasn't enough oxygen getting in the engine to even keep it running. So luckily on this trip, I didn't have to go up too many really steep areas up at high elevations, because this bike just does not run at high elevations. But the good thing is, honestly, I mean, you know, we did 4 weeks and at least it didn't break down. I had that one flat tire, but other than that, that's really not that bad. So we did get lucky. Stanley Hotel wasn't too bad. I got about another hour of dirt road and then 2 hours of tarmac to where Charlie's at on the coast. So should be a nice day. Gonna have breakfast and roll out. Today definitely turned out to be a little tougher than it needed to be. It was just supposed to be about 3 hours downhill to this town, Huaco. And it turned out to be quite a bit tougher than I thought. The first hour down that dirt road wasn't too bad. At least I didn't have a flat tire or any problems. And then you kind of come into the desert. And I actually had one point where I was kind of looking off to the left, you know, just nonchalantly. And I did come kind of close to the edge at a point. And I was thinking, geez, you know, that's kind of when you let your guard down a bit. You're towards the end of a trip. And I remember even when I was reading about the miners in Colorado, it wasn't the new guys who got often killed. It was the experienced guys, because they were much more apt to make a mistake, like end up, you know, mishandling a charge and getting blown up or something like that. And so that was a little bit of a close call. And then about an hour later, I was kind of looking down at my phone to see like when my next turnoff was. And earlier in this trip, I had bought something to put my phone on my bike, basically, so I could see it easier, because the guy who rented us the bike, he gave me a waterproof pouch, which is great when it's raining, but the thing is that it's transparent, so the sun hits it and you can't see the screen. So it's kind of looking down at that for a second, and a van came around the corner straight into my lane that wasn't paying attention, and luckily we both saw it at the time. Of course, he was wrong. I was, you know, in my lane, but that's why you have to have defensive driving all the time. And then I got on the highway there, and of course, when I got my tire fixed a few days ago, the guy mentioned if it gets really hot, it can blow up. I'm not sure exactly what he meant. I understand that, you know, heat makes things expand, so that tube could expand, and the rim's cracked, which means it could go flat. And as soon as I was going through a toll, kind of about, I don't know, 15 miles from the city, the tire went straight flat. And the good thing is that there was a car or truck mechanic right off to the right. And so I filled up the tire, and he mentioned I could go down, I thought he said a couple minutes. And then I realized what he said is the next city, which is still, you know, another 10, 15 miles or whatever. And so, and it went flat immediately. And so I had to drive that flat tire for about a half hour until I came into this town, stopped at the first guy. And of course, he's trying to upsell me, right? It's true, that tire is beat up. Like, I could use new tire, but I'm returning the bike the next day. And so I don't want to spend 150 sols, which is like, you know, 45, 50 bucks on a new tire when, you know, the guy gave us a pretty mediocre bike. I don't want to be adding all the new parts on it. Pretty sweet view for a mall, huh? So we're gonna roll out our last day of the motorcycle trip, 3 hours to Lima, about 140, 150 kilometers. So had a couple close calls yesterday. Last night we had a pretty fat burger at a place just down the road from here.
Wasn't the greatest burger in the world. Had all the toppings and stuff, but the patties themselves were kind of mediocre. But I noticed that in most countries. If you want good American food, you got to be in America, right? But anyway, looking forward to getting to Lima and hopefully escaping the city without getting any guns pulled on us. I'm sure we'll be all right. But yeah, kind of looking forward now to heading back to Colorado because it has been a long trip. 4 weeks on a motorcycle is probably one of the longer ones I've done in a long time. I know in China I did some long trips that were probably 2-3 weeks. I'm not even sure if I've done 4 weeks there or not, but yeah, I think next time maybe 3 weeks is good enough because or even break it up into like a week of hiking or, you know, a week off somewhere or something. But yeah, my back's sore. That motorcycle sucks. 150 is definitely not something I'm gonna use next time if I come here. Super hot out already. It's about 9:30. One of the routes has like 5.5 hours if you take a motorcycle on the long way, and then the main route's like 3 hours. The lady said there's no issues with motorcycles on the highway, so we'll see. Charlie did get a ticket the other day. He went on a highway which only trucks could go on, and the guy was nice and everything. And he's like, he didn't say specifically giving him money. He's like, do you want to make a like donation, right?
Support.
And then he was able to keep going on, huh?
Scored it.
Yeah, otherwise he said he could have made him walk back on the highway, so I don't know. Hopefully no issues there and hopefully no flat tires. Made it here in one piece. Hopefully the guy who rented the bike should be here in the next 10-15 minutes. So hopefully no shenanigans with returning the bikes, like with our deposit or anything. I know in Mexico they tried to rip me off and later charged me like $100 for nothing, so we'll see. But at least my GoPro's still here and my bags, and hopefully everything else.
You want to see? Okay. Yeah. With the bike. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So I'm here at my friend's place in Lima. We're actually down on the ground floor here of his apartment building, and hopefully these 10-foot walls are safe enough. I'd feel better if there was barbed wire, but you know, no big deal. Beggars can't be choosers, right? Anyway, we came into town today. It wasn't too bad. Leaving was a little more chaotic, so we got to drop off the motorcycles to that dude. And it went pretty well, although it was funny at first. He was trying to get like, you know, $4 or $5 so he could pay someone to wash the motorcycles. And, you know, we gave him $1,000 already for bikes that are probably worth about $1,000, if that. So, I mean, we paid for the bikes. And then there was kind of another little issue because, you know, it was kind of confusing when we got the bikes because, of course, I paid ahead of the time. And it was basically $1,000 and $100 for the deposit. And when I paid through PayPal before I got here, you know, PayPal takes a big amount. PayPal sucks, by the way. I hate that company. Like, if people send me money, they hold on to it for like 3 weeks. It's just a horrible company. Anyway, when it got to him, the $1,100, they took out like $60 or $70. So I was down to $1,030. And then when he like transferred the money into his account, like the bank ended up, it said on the receipt like $25, but like he only got through PayPal like $9.50, so it went down to like $9.25. So basically, sending $1,100, I lost $170, right? And Charlie had paid the extra $30, so I at least covered the like $1,000 or whatever. So I had to kind of figure that out. It seems kind of like maybe he jipped me a little bit on something there for like, it seems like $50 to $70 is unaccounted for somewhere in these transactions, but I can't be 100% sure. I'm not really gonna give him so much shit about it or whatever. So, and after we dropped off the bikes, Charlie went up to his hotel. I'm staying at my buddy, who I actually went to grad school with 10 years ago in Taipei. We got our master's there, and then he continued on in Beijing and got his PhD about 5 years ago or so. And so he came back here. He's got tenure now at a good university in Lima. So tomorrow's my last day, and I'll just go downtown to Central. I didn't see that area, and I'll check out a few of the sites there. And then the next day, I'll get up at like, I don't know, 3, 4 in the morning and head to the airport, fly to Miami, got like 8-hour layover, and then over to Denver. I'll be back around midnight. Hopefully get there in one piece. So hanging out, having dinner. It's the first time back in Lima with Charlie and Margarita since we got robbed. What do you think, Charlie? I think she was in on it. I think it was her plan, right?
Margaritas?
Yeah, she planned us to get robbed, right?
No,
No?
for sure, no.
It was her plan. She planned us to get
What
robbed.
did you say to the taxi driver when we first got in the taxi?
Yeah, she's like, here's a couple foreigners.
The taxi driver?
Let's rob the
There's
foreigners.
2 rich foreigners.
No.
Yeah.
That
Charlie looks like he has
driver
money too.
Was we didn't know who
We got 2
here
gringos, dos gringos.
with me. Do you remember you told me?
We've
I'm
heard
joking.
a lot of stories about beautiful women that lure foreigners into very compromising positions, and then they take all their money.
See, you're part of the gang here.
Really? The police.
Come on, Margarita. we get the
Can
plan.
you imagine that?
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Peru series I had, and I'll probably have another cool one soon, so stay tuned.